Hello, everyone, and thank you to the Achieving Unity podcast. As you can see on the screen first, if you would like my Achieving Unity guide, please go to my home site, go down and connect, and would love to have you look at the guide. But this is creating solutions one reality at a time, transforming your world today to make it better in what we do. We look at achieving unity through encouragement, inspiration, and inclusion. We can do that by helping each other and including each other through the positive attitudes of the world. And I'll talk more about this in a second. But Achieving Unity is our weekly podcast. Right now in 2024, we are on Thursday afternoons. Starting on the second Wednesday in January, we will go to the Wednesday hosting for our podcast and continue throughout the year on Wednesdays instead of Thursdays. But I will have courses coming up on Thursday in 2025. It will still be at 1 p.m. Pacific time, 4 p.m. Eastern time, and hope you can still continue to join us. But we go from, as you can see in the logo on the right-hand side, we go from reality-focused dynamics to success-focused solutions. So please contact us today for more information on let's solve our problems. Well, how do we do that? Well, number one, we are using Agile and Lean outside of software. And I say that for most of the engineers that may be on board or listen to the recording. Agile is a methodology, I'm sorry, it's a framework within a process of project or program management. Lean is another way to manage projects and programs to build quick, fast solutions and eliminate waste. The philosophy can be used in every discipline and not just software. It goes in every vertical, including our homes, personally and professionally. Agile is the ability to create and respond to change. Everybody says change is inevitable. We have problems with change. So we're going to turn that change into improvements. It enables success in an uncertain and possibly struggling environment by emphasizing adaptability through better collaboration and communication. Lean is the methodology focused on maximizing value by minimizing waste. How much waste do we have every day? How many times do we procrastinate? I don't waste any time at all. I procrastinate right away. Just kidding. That's what we want to work against in the process because we want to optimize our processes through continuous improvement, effectiveness, and efficiency. If you look at the bottom, my newsletter just came out today, and I hope you will sign up for my newsletter. But it comes out with Agile Manifesto, personally and professionally. It's an article. It's in my podcast. I'm sorry, it's in my blog. This is our podcast, but it's in the blog today. So I hope you go out there and read it and give me information, give me feedback. But connect with me and I'll show you how to break all products, all services, personally and professionally, down from the most complex business projects to the most basic steps of training our teenagers. And I have worked for Lockheed Martin. I have worked for Boeing, and I did have two teenagers at one time. So that was always fun. But it works. I mean, just think of a busy morning at a family breakfast. Everyone has somewhere to go. It may be from work to school to many other locations. So why don't we have a family stand-up meeting each evening where everyone shares their tasks for the next day, where they need to go, what they need to do. Just use those sticky notes with the chores that they need to accomplish, those responsibilities, and put them on the refrigerator, where each person can move their sticky note from to do to done once it's complete. You could even create a breakfast station with pre-portioned ingredients and a weekly meal plan. The minimized decision fatigue and reduced time spent searching for items can help everyone on a smoother and more efficient process. So, see, it does work professionally and personally in everything that we do. Achieving unity through encouragement, inspiration, and inclusion. And that's where we are today in this podcast. Encouragement is the powerful force that lies at the heart of empowerment as we empower others to help us accomplish our goals. Inspiring each other to reach every goal. Unity makes us, each and every one of us, a very successful team. Include others and celebrate every victory, both personally and professionally. Together, we can overcome every challenge. Are you facing relationship challenges or maybe parenting difficulties? Are you or someone you know struggling with relationship issues or parenting time issues as a divorced or divorcing parents? We know how difficult the legal system is, our judicial system, our legislator writes laws. It seems like they send it to the Bar Association and they write it in that legal ease or legal tease. Well, we need to transform that frustration into understanding with what the frustration. Where is the value in our actions? Learn that anger holds no value. Anger is just actions, not gaining effective results. Anger. Anger is actions, not gaining effective results. There's no reason for anger. But I will work with people, work with you, work with anyone that has a challenge, from personal relationships to prenuptial agreements. Again, nuptial is not required. There's a lot of us that we've been married. We don't want to get married again. Or maybe we do, but it's further down the road, but our relationship is close. Well, maybe there's time to put an agreement together so we understand what we're doing and where we're going. Life happens. So let's learn to embrace and enjoy every moment and every challenge together in unity. If you're watching this and you have your iPhone or your Droid phone, grab these two QR codes. The one on the left is my website home, takes you up to the markintrigan.com, sometimes better known as achievingunity.com, or the contact page on the right. Use your phone, grab one of those QR codes, or grab both of them, put it into your history. Come talk to me whenever you have a question. Love to talk with you. Next week, we'll get into this week. We'll get into today in a few minutes. Next week's our Human Rights Day, International. Shindu Chaitin will be here to talk to us. He's doing some work for the University of Denver. I'm a adjunct instructor at the University of Denver. He was working there also. Get together on human rights. What rights do we have? Also, I have an article on my blog that talks about get the E, like excellence, get the E back in human to make it humane. Human, Human, to Humane for humane. Let's get the human back into the humane process. On 12/19, we have Happy Holidays, a time for all through kindness. Jill Lublin will be coming to talk with us. Then on 12/26, the day after Christmas, yes, we will be here. Strive to thrive 2025.com. Go out there. You'll also get to markintrigan.com. We have got to make 2025 a year that we're striving to thriving and making it the best year yet. Now, there will be no podcast the first week of January. Wednesday comes up on January 1st, and we're moving to Wednesdays in January. So we're not going to have a podcast that day, but we'll have a fresh start on January 8th. Relationships, Amy Schoen. Start the year off right. Start our relationships off right. Let's build a better year as we strive to thrive in 2025. But now for the tribute of the day. And the guy that I just talked to last week, just met. It's exciting. And to see what he's doing with his life, what he's done with his life. Sports were the fuel for Art Still, staying out of trouble, receiving a high school diploma from Camden High School, earning a scholarship, and graduating from the University of Kentucky. He feels he was very fortunate to be drafted as the second player in the first round with the Kansas City Chiefs, where he played for 10 years. He finished his career with his final 2 years with the Buffalo Bills, ending in 1989. The sport he says he is playing now, and we'll be talking about more today, is the game of life. The rules and regulations are similar to what he learned in football. In football, you have to follow a game plan. Within the game plan, there are constant changes and adjustment. Even more so with the game of life. You can find out more about Art down at the bottom. You can go to www.nfl.com/players/art-still. But for now, let's talk to Art and see what he's doing. Art, thank you for being here.
Oh, I thought you was talking about the other guy. Oh, that was me. Okay, my fault. Yeah.
That
When you're the
is
fifth
you.
person, man, when you're in the fifth person, man, you got five people you can choose from.
Oh, but you're the top one today because we want to know about you and what you're doing because I'm excited about all the things that you're doing.
Well, I mean, I'm excited to be part of the show, and I know you was bringing up some things about family and marriage and all, man. Those are things that I can truly relate to. I got five girls, six boys, and then on top of that, I got my 25th grandchild coming on the way in May. And then when
Whoa,
you,
let's go over those numbers again. Now, you
oh
got
no,
how many
and
kids?
nice. I got 11 kids and got the 25th one grandchild coming up in May. So I always tell people, I'm still a young man. I'm still reproducing just from a different angle.
There you go.
And then
Love that attitude.
you brought up the thing about marriage and all too. And I always, I've been, I tell people I'm serving a life sentence, and we've been married. My wife Liz and all. We've been married 41 years and all. But after
Congratulations.
you got to have some fun with it. I said after the 25th year, now she became, instead of wife, she's my parole officer. So I tell people I'm serving a life sentence.
Serving a life sentence.
And I think you
I
serving
love your
life sentence
attitude.
too. Oh, you can't have a little fun in life. What's the point in living? Always. My father used to say that all the time. I mean, but you still got to keep it in the context, folks around, and it's got to be upbuilding, so to speak.
Again, I like your attitude, your positive on life. You had a very successful football career. It's impressive. I'm it's just to see what you've done, what you did for the Kansas City Chiefs in 10 years, the records you set that are still standing today.
Well, the
It's
things I
impressive.
you bring up some points and all, and it's all part of that process we talk about growing up and all. And I can always say, I had a mother, I have a mother and a father, so that's how I got into this world. My mother and father. Probably didn't know that. You probably thought I was a test tube baby, but I'm not. But I had, my father was, somewhat involved. My mother, that was the mainstay of me, and she's the one I owe, and a lot of times, I owe it all to her and all, as far as the direction and all. Not she wasn't a perfect parent and all, but she did the best that she can with what she had. And again, growing up in the family, I had four other brothers and five sisters, and we grew up in Camden, New Jersey, in the project, so to speak, and all. But again, her direction has got me where I'm at right now. And then, then I look, as the path that comes up to my age now and all, there's, a bunch of individuals that had a big influence in my life that, I contribute to them. And at the same time, as they say, paying it forward, trying to teach my kids and those around me in the community and all, do positive things, make a difference within our communities and all.
Again, that's a great attitude. And you brought up your mom, and I was just looking over here because I thought I had seen this before because, like you said, your mother was a big influence in your life. And what
Yeah.
was that she talked about? The only person that you can change is
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah. The funny thing about that is, and this is no lie, even when she's sleeping right now, and I'll get the opportunity of seeing her someday soon and all. But the thing is, even, because when you get married and all, it's always, there's a big, you know, um, situations, with the wife and all. And I can remember, calling her sometimes on, hey, mom, my mom said, but see, they called me, instead of calling me Art, my middle name is Barry. She used to always say, Barry, the only person you can change is yourself. And, and that you can't change nobody, but the only person you got to control is over yourself and all. And sometimes it's hard, you think you can control other folks, then, after 50, 60 years, you figure, okay, I think she was right. That's the only person. So, I mean, but you never get too old to learn and all. And so, I try to pass it on, like I said, to my own kids, to those around me. And again, um, I was pretty fortunate. And I always tell people, and I don't get into the gender thing, but I just joke around about things and all too. And this is just this is just ain't nothing. But I always tell people, my mother, she was the first non-binary person around and all, because she was a woman. But when we had 5 boys of us, and 4 of us about a year apart. We got in trouble,
Wow.
man. She knew how to handle the discipline. It was like body blowing. I mean, but it was just one of those things where she was teaching us to be respectful, and I knew that was our means at that particular time was getting us in the right direction. But she was a woman, but she beat us like a man. No,
And I like how you understood that too, though, because that's one of the things we've got to be. I am. I don't want to get into the political side either, and on that, because I look at all, and they say just say all genders, but there's people that are great, like your mom, that she did what she had to do, whatever it was, or it sounded like anyway. That's why
no.
it just be exciting if I hopefully get to talk to her someday, and maybe we'll all be up there together. Let's hope for that.
Well, when
But
she wake,
just
yeah, when she wakes up, I'm gonna be right there. Hopefully, I'll be there right with her and all too, man.
yeah,
Yeah,
I thought that's what I heard you say earlier. That's a beautiful. That's very beautiful.
yeah.
That just being a family man, was that difficult? Take a little bit into your NFL career. How was that in your NFL career? Was that difficult? And
Yeah, everything you do has, you got the negative and the positive, and then plus your environment, who you're around, and people you do and do things with, and all too. But yeah, it's just like anything else. You know, like my wife Liz, she's from Overland Park. I'm from Camden, New Jersey. Lived in the project, and again, I look at my mother's same thing. She used to tell us, there's only one race. She said, there's different shades and all, but we all are one and all. And it doesn't matter and all too. And that's what she said, you go from one extreme to the other, but we all are from the human race. And so, with that said, but we all come from different environments, different cultures and all. And I liken it to my situation in the inner city, in the projects, living there, and in comparison to my wife, she's from the suburbs, different breed of folks, different shade of folks, different culture and all too. So when we came together, we got married back in 1983. And it is, you got to work. Marriage is, I always tell people the hardest job there is marriage. I mean, because there's constant adjustments and all you got to make. And sometimes we come with preconceived ideas like myself, where you think, oh, this is how marriage, this is how a wife, or this is how you're supposed to act. And you know, we all different environments, different, mindset on things and all. Then you take in, we talk about gender, a woman is a little bit more emotional, a little bit more affectionate and all. And as a male like myself and playing sports, we're about, man, we just want to get to our goal right now. And again, the emotions are not there. So I think, over a period of time, like I said, we've been married for about 41 years now, and I got a life sentence. Let me add that to you. But the thing is, there's been some adjustments, and I'm finding out, and I think the same thing with her, that usually you don't want to start off good and then start winding down. I think our relationship is getting a little bit better and all too. And I think she might agree with that. I'm glad she's not here to lie for me. Oh, no, but no, no, no. But I mean, it's just one of those deals. And then now we got, like I say, 11 adult kids, and then we got
wow.
the 20, and that's some working within itself too, because the way we train and bring your kids up. She grew up in a different environment. I grew up, it was more so discipline. Liz, it was a different type of discipline where she grew up, and trying to combine those together can cause some problems, because as far as raising kids and as humans, we have the tendency, the easiest way of doing things, that's the way we want to go. Me, it's almost like you trying to teach your kid discipline. My wife, if my kids was come up to me and ask me a question, especially if it's in school and all, I used to point them over. I say, hey, you see that dictionary? They ask me, hey, what this word mean? I go over the dictionary, look it up, man. You come back and tell me. Now my wife is complete opposite. She'll right off the top of me, she'll tell them everything. And so, and those are the conflicts sometimes you have, because now the kids, man, they know where to go. I'm gonna go to mom because I know I can get the answers from there. Those are the things I mean, but those are the things, man. Those are
Yeah.
the dynamics of marriage and all. You got to work with. I mean, it's just,
Mhm.
and sometimes I'll bite my tongue because I grew up in an environment like even saying the word. Like I would never ever, especially adult or my mother or any relatives, I would never ever say the word. They ask me a question, I go, "What?" That was, growing up, that was like a bad four-letter word.
Mhm.
But my wife, she grew up in a different environment where it was a little bit more conversation and all. And so I see things happening, the kids conversating with her, and I think disrespectful, but she looks at it otherwise. So you just gotta somehow, mesh all those things together and bite your tongue. No, I'm just joking.
Yeah.
But
In a way, that's true.
yeah, because I always think about, we see all these commercials and all. One of my favorite commercials, the Progressive and insurance one. Don't be like your parents. The one that we talk about. And I catch myself like my mother, even my father, those traits coming up. Even though back in the day I thought they was kind of crazy, but I catch myself doing the same thing because subconsciously these things are embedded in our head, and some things we
They
got to
are.
work through. So
Or that's a good point. I've noticed that too. It was actually my nephew, my oldest brother's son, mentioned that one to me one day about how much I am like my mother. And my dad and I were close. A lot of things about my mother I was not following or didn't think I was.
yeah,
But when he told me that a couple of decades ago, but I saw how many things I do follow from my
yeah,
mother that, like you're saying, back in those days, I would have never even thought about it.
yeah.
Again, my mother was a great mother, very intelligent. My positive attitude, I think, comes from her. But like you're saying, our culture, our learnings, what we take from when we're young and we grow up with, they've become a habit in a lot of ways, haven't they?
Oh yeah, well, you bring up a good point. I kind of chuckle about this too. I mean, subconscious. My father and all, he was a hard worker and all too, but he loved, he took care of his grass, cutting grass and all that stuff. And that, we wound up eventually. My parents moved out here, Kansas City from New Jersey. We had a house and all, and so he always cut his. It was a certain way he cut his grass. And so, I'm calling myself going to help him out one day and cut the grass for him. And he come running out. And as I said, my name, they call me Barry. That's my middle name, Barry. My
Right?
father comes out, "Hey, Barry, man, no, no. Cut the grass this way and cut it this way." He start giving me these angles and all. And I'm thinking, man, I said, "Man, what's wrong with cuz, man? Cuz I'm just cutting grass. You just cut grass." And then I caught myself too. My son, one of my oldest, Afanal, came over to cut some grass for me. No, it's not too, maybe a few years ago. And he started cutting and all. I went out, "Hey, Afa, man, no, cut the grass." And then I catch myself, man, that's exactly. And I know he's probably thinking the same thing. Man, Seth, what's wrong with my father, man? So I'm just cutting grass, man. But, it's just traits and all.
It's
Yeah,
it's a lot. What are we doing here?
yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
Just
Those
grass.
traits.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
you know, as you mentioned that, I mean, only we're not even quite halfway through the program yet, but if you don't mind, Art, I'm going to hit you with a question that it may be a hard question, but I just kind of want to get it on the table. You know, black. I love black. Black's a beautiful color. A lot of people, we
Oh,
love
yeah.
black. There's no doubt about it. It's one of the colors that have black suits. I've worn black tuxes. It's a powerful color. It's it's a wow. But you know what? We could talk more about some of my past and some of the prejudices I've been through in the divorce court. And I paid my child support. I paid my alimony. I wanted to see my children. But when I went into that courtroom from that 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, I was prejudiced against as a deadbeat dad just because I was in that courtroom.
Oh,
But
I
when we
thought
look
maybe,
at the,
yeah. I thought
well,
maybe
we
you
look
was
back
going
to,
to talk about the judge being in black. I always said I had that problem too. No.
well, that's another one. That's a
Yeah,
good
yeah,
looking black suit that they wear.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah,
when I look at black, it's a different way.
yeah.
But what's it like growing up black? Like I saw my prejudices. I've got a lot of black friends, got a lot of Hispanic friends, got a lot of red, yellow, black, brown, and white. But I've seen my part of prejudice, but my prejudice was The rest of it, like I said, 8 to 5, 9 to 4 when I was in the courtroom. A lot of prejudice there, but mine was short term. Tell me from your perspective growing up, what was it
Well,
like?
I can give you a good example. When I was talking about my mother and all, and my mother, all that black stuff, came up back in the day. And I can remember she telling me, she said, "Put your hands up there." And then she had something was black. She said, "You're not black." I mean, and it's a shame that we gotta categorize groups of people and all. And one of the things she brought out made sense to me too and all. Man, it's like, and I had situations where people, because I'm about 6'7", good size and all, people ask me, how you get so big? How you get that? And I'm thinking to myself, man, how did I create this height and this size and all?
You're what, six foot
I'm about six,
seven?
seven, about 6'7" all. But I mean, but it was
Yeah.
just kind of funny. It was kind of reality check for me too, because they asked me, and I'm thinking like I created this body, this look, this size, this shade of color. But then when you break it down, whoever womb you come out of, you can be over in Iraq, you can be in Russia, you can be in China, whatever. You don't have no control of where you came from or, who's your mother. It wasn't like, hey, you can pick out what shade of color you want, what your mother gonna look like, how tall your father gonna be. When you come into this world, man, that's what you got to work. You got to work at those genes and all within the family structure and all. So, what makes us any better than anybody else? And again, I believe there's a creator. Some people don't, but I believe there's. I mean, you look around, it's nature and everything, the air, everything. Everything kind of works together, except sometimes, only thing that doesn't work together on this earth is man that's trying to overpower man. You can see it in politics and all too. But
Good point.
and then there's folks and all that are working together, doing things together. So it's possible, and I think our Creator put us. We on this earth for a purpose, you know, and it's to do the right thing and all too. And
Hmm.
when you're doing the right thing, because basically when you look at the earth, this is a beautiful earth. I mean, everything we
Oh, it
need on.
is.
Now, what makes the earth negative things on this earth? Is it the animals? Is it the trees? Is it the sun, the star, anything like? No, it's man that is just thinking strictly of himself, trying, there's exploitation, those types of things. And sometimes people think they're a little bit more powerful and smarter and all too. But just as I stated, like in football, playing the game, raising a family, everybody has a place, you know. Just like, and I'll use an example, just like the Chiefs and all. We now with sports, because people in sports and Chiefs big team and all too. They talk about Patrick Mahomes. Oh man, the greatest quarterback. Yeah, he's a smart. I'm one of the probably in history,
Yes.
and he still got a little ways to go and all too. But as far as playing, thinking on his toes, playing, being creative and all. But the key on, one of the keys beside all that is the people, the front five guys. If they ain't doing their job in front, or the receiver's not catching the ball or not running the right kind of patterns, now how would he look? So that's why, look
Exactly.
within the family dynamic, within the team and all, when and we're not perfect and all. We're gonna make mistakes. So when we recognize we make mistakes, then we can move on. And again, we're gonna make mistakes and all. But when everything is working together, it's a beautiful thing and all too. So, and
It
like I
it
said, yeah,
it is, and that's like I'm trying to. I'm just building on what you're saying because, like you said, you got the guards, you got the tackles. Everybody's got to do their job. The center's got to get the ball to the quarterback.
yeah,
The
yeah.
receivers,
You got
they've
to
got to run
protect.
the.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
So I mean,
And
and
then
so that's the thing is that's the thing that as a whole, and then like as even within the family structure, you know, you're gonna have differences. Kids, we don't have perfect kids. We don't have perfect parents, and even though there's no, everybody lives in a somewhat dysfunctional family because we make mistakes and all too. But at the same time, that's where it comes into play. Sometimes it's because of our pride. Sometimes we don't want to acknowledge that maybe we made a mistake. But that's just part of the learning process, the growing process that's going to take you to the next level. Because now we see a lot of people nowadays, and again, I'm working on myself and all too, but tend to blame everybody else around them than looking at themselves and all. And I can speak for myself because that's the same thing. My parole officer lives, man. I'm always, man, like, instead of looking at myself, what can I do? You know, and I catch myself. I mean, I still do it. That's gonna happen throughout my life and all. But if you're aware of these things, you're a little bit more
That
conscious about those things. And then if you do make a mistake, she knows. I'll go down. I'll go tell her, well, I'm sorry. Make sure I don't say it correctly. Sorry, whatever. I apologize.
Mhm.
Just simple things like that. I apologize. No, they go long ways.
Well, that's great because again, you've got that great attitude. You talked about a few things before earlier with your mother, and it's like maybe I'm a darker white than some people think about when they look at that little sheet that we fill out for a job that says race. I
Yeah.
like what you said the other day. Just put other human
Yeah,
race.
but
I thought
that's I use, and I think people think, if I'm doing something, people think I'm just trying to be smart, but I do. I put on there, you fill out, you check it, I go down to other race, I got other, and then I put in human, and that's,
I'm
we
going
all.
to follow that, and I'm going to give you credit for it, Art. That's an
No, no,
excellent.
no, hey, I'm gonna have to charge you for it. I got that patent, man.
Send me, send me a
Yeah.
bill. I'll be
Oh
looking
yeah,
for
yeah,
that
yeah,
invoice.
yeah,
But yeah,
yeah, yeah,
because
yeah,
like you're saying, everybody has a little bit different color of their skin. And I think I mentioned to you, I lived last a couple 2 winters ago. I lived in Mexico, and of course, I love laying out in the sun and getting a little bit darker.
yeah,
And then people look at, well, that's a good color. That's not a good color. Well, what
yeah.
makes a color good or not good? Who who put these rules together? Well, Art.
Well, hey, but no, I didn't put the rules together. Don't put it on me, man.
No, I
But
didn't
no,
know.
hey,
I'm
Mark,
asking you, who did though?
hey, Mark, but the funny thing, and I'll tell you, and there's always going to be in this system things we live in right now under, all the things going on in this world, imperfect people and all. There's always going to be prejudice. The thing is, like I said, I grew up in Camden, New Jersey, lived in the projects, and so it's all, and where we live, it was all blacks. Blacks and Puerto Ricans went to high school and all. So what happened was, you know, and I lived in Roosevelt Manor. That was the name of the projects I lived in. We had Branch Village and Fairview and a couple other places and all too. But
Okay.
even in there, we were a little lighter skinned folks, and then you got real dark. And there's, then it's a little prejudice there too, because people prejudge you in a situation like that. Even in our society and all, if you're a little overweight, people look at you and prejudge you, even they don't know your name. If you wear glasses, if you got pimples or whatever. I mean, it's just it's a tendency of us to prejudge other and all. But I live by a motto that I have on my email when I send out all the time. It talks about everyone we face is facing issues we know nothing about it. Be kind, be patient, or it's just a matter of, man, recognize, man, putting yourself empathetic, putting yourself in people's position, because things happen in our lives we don't have no control over. It's just how we react to it.
I think you're making a good point there too, because as I talk about in my speech, when you see kids that are just born, even they're like in a daycare, from the time they're just old enough to start playing with each other till they're 3, 2, 3, maybe 4, they play together. They don't even think about it. They don't think about any kind of challenges, physical. It's just how can we play together? How can we build together? But we look
Yeah.
at those same children once they're into school, public schools, and how that perception changes. And usually it doesn't change for the better. It's not an improvement. It's a negative because, like you said, I think there's counted up like 43 different identified prejudices in this world. Anything from skin color,
Oh
gender,
yeah.
to simple things as far as rate, as far as salary, as far as, of course, knowledge level. People are
Yeah.
judged because they may not see something the way that you do. May not see something the way that this other person does. You may not see the same things the way I do. And we develop prejudices for that, right?
Yeah. And then the thing is,
And then,
I was going to say, you think about it, and like I said, I believe, as a creator in my life, not, and I truly believe that and all too. And we all, hey, that's the nice thing about it. There's nobody, you might have, identical twins and all, but there's still difference in them. There's nobody perfect. I mean, there's nobody exactly, and that's the nice thing about it because we have a variety. Just like you talk about variety of different colors, man. We can draw with, or we can look and see that we can enjoy, and that's I have a different variety of personalities. Our perspective, and that when you put them all together, you can create just like colors or whatever. You can create different colors, different ways of looking at things. And again, that's where you get different perspectives. And that's how we learn. If we all just thought the same way, look the same way, what kind of world do you think this would be? So, I mean, and that's the good thing, man, that we have the different personalities, just a matter of learning how to work together and all too, and don't become caught up, okay, this person don't look like me or act like me or not from my part of town, don't talk like me, or they from here and
So,
there.
so why does that make that bad? I'm right with you there, Art.
Yeah, that's what I'm
We're not
saying.
like each other, but go ahead.
Here we are. Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch. We brothers from another mother, man.
We are definitely brothers. What's your blood type? Mine's A positive. What's
Uh,
yours?
Mine is red when it gets exposed to.
Look, it's exposed oxygen. It's red. I like that.
Yeah, yeah, with
You got
my
a
hey,
great
no,
attitude.
no, shucks. It's blue inside, man. But once it hits the oxygen, it turns red. We all, man. When
That,
you bleed red, aren't you?
that's that is
Uh
so
oh.
well
Hey,
said.
hey, if you bleed and you bleeding red, cheese.
That's right.
Go cheese. No, I'm just joking.
Red for Kansas City, right?
Yeah, there
They're
you go.
doing
Hey,
well this year. I tell you,
I
they're
get some
doing
brown. No,
great.
I gotta get some brownie points out of that one, man. So
There
yeah.
you go. They've learned from you. That's what they've done. They've learned from you. All right.
I like to
Sure.
not take all that credit, man, but I think you finally starting to make some sense to me.
You have a great attitude. Well, tell me something. Let's look at the other side of that. Growing up, like you said, in the projects, did you ever have any disconnect with your Black culture? Did you ever have any of your own thoughts of
Well, the thing is,
negativity,
and
positivity?
well, the thing is, because I grew up during that age and all, Black Panthers and all, when all the racial stuff, the riots and all was going on. And I did, I'm from Camden, New Jersey. I was planning on, and I tell you, even happens within, Camden. I went back my first year with the Chiefs and I bought a home, but it wasn't in Camden. Camden was, but we bought like in Cherry Hill right outside. But my whole objective
Okay.
was to come back and work in Camden and work with kids and do things. But then I came back and I can still remember this. This was back in probably 79 or so and went up to City Hall and I was talking to one of the councilmen or whatever. It's just so happened he was Black. So I was telling him about things I want to do, come back in the community. And he made a statement, why you want to question me, why you want to come back here? In other words, if you get your money, stay out. And that kind of put a bad taste in my mouth. And I didn't. I wound up moving back to Kansas City and all, but at the time I should never, in my mind, I should never let other people change, the goal as far as doing something good back home. And at that time, I was just young. I said, well, I ain't coming back there. But he just represent one person and all. It wasn't about the people and all. And I just kind of, at that time. So yeah, you do. That was one of the negative things. But there's another great positive one. Until this day, I could get them on right. I could call them up right now. But my fifth grade teacher, Steve Coach, he was, again, I hate using those terms, but he was white. But he's the one that took me, and I remember I was telling you about there's certain individuals, man, that where I'm at right now, and I tell them all the time. I talk to them, a couple times a week. Every time we go up there and visit, we hang out and all too. But he had a great influence. He used to come in. He lived out in the suburbs. Fifth grade. He used to come pick me up at my house and we used to take me go play basketball, doing things, and expose me to different things, and always encouraging me to do the right thing. And till this day, like I said, I can call. Matter of fact, I need to probably call Steve today and all, man. But he is one of the big influences in my life and all. And like I said, in fifth grade, and you know, I I owe him, but I know he would say that's where you learn and you pass it on. You know,
Mhm.
you learn things and you reflect the positive people and you pass it on. You know, kids and
Mhm.
people. I look at it and
Did you
his
say
yeah.
did you say pay it forward earlier? Sorry to interrupt you, but I'm going about you mentioned that
I
words
said
earlier, I think. Pay it
no, I said
forward?
pass it on, pass it on.
Pass it on? Okay.
You just you go back like you remember me. I taught my homes how to do. You go back like that, give them the fake, and then throw it the other way.
There you go.
Hit the
There you go.
coach's face, bam, and get yourself another job. No, but no, but as I was saying, he till this day and all. I mean, just it wasn't about shade of color, nothing. Didn't have anything to do with shade of color and all. So um,
Yeah. I
you
like
live
what
and
you're
you learn.
saying. And
Yeah.
that's one of those things too, is I hear you say that because you've taught me a couple of things together today, again, with the just on the race, just human. I love that. And just to build even the blood type. No, my blood's red. That's really all that matters. And then when you say, like, when somebody says they're white, well, you consider yourself white because that race, that color, that's just a social construct, isn't it? That's what somebody's kind
That's
of
not a
put in our,
so. It's something. It's man made because if you think about it, and if like I said, everybody's got their, but I believe there's a loving creator that created us, and he created man. And you think about it, you go to different parts of the country and all the world, everything is kind of acclimated to the area and all too, shade of color and those types of things. And he created. If we believe in creating, he created. You know, created two people. And from that, that's where we all come from. So we all related one way or another. That's why you're my brother from
that we are.
another mother, and I want to borrow a couple $1,000 next week, brother from another mother. You ain't going for that one, huh?
Not going for that. I don't know.
Oh,
Give
you
me a
want
go
to
that one
shake your
again.
head, so I'm waiting for that $2,000 now.
Love that attitude. That's what, how can, how can we build on how some ways that we can help more people grasp on to your attitude? I told you I'm learning from you already. We talked
Well,
the other
hey,
day. I'm talking to you today.
yeah,
How can we go ahead?
I didn't, all these things are learned things I learned from other folks, and kind of combine them and all too. So it goes back to like I was telling you about my mother said, only person you can change is yourself. It's how we look at things and all. And again, being that we're imperfect and we do make mistakes, we're gonna say and do things sometimes. But that's where you come back and apologize. I mean, if we recognize and all too, or we offend somebody, and I've been in spots and all too, especially out in California. I was out there. We was doing some things, doing some camps up in northern part of California. I was in Sprouts, picking up some food, and I joke around a lot. And one person took it the wrong way.
You
They
do.
thought I was. They took it the wrong way and came back and was saying something too. So I could have probably got upset, but I basically told him, I said, man, hey, I apologize. I was just joking around. That's how I had a situation where, and my wife would tell you, my I got a son, Luca lives with me now. He was in a motorcycle wreck and all, which kind of he was in a
Mhm.
coma and all, but he was up in Lincoln, Nebraska to
I'm
um,
sorry.
Madonna and all. It's for TBIs and all too. But I went to this one because I'm in the health food store. So I went in there. Usually from the East Coast, we always ask some people, you say, hey, you got everything straight. So when I went in there, and my wife was right there with me and all, one guy working back there, and I mess with people all the time. And I said, you got you got everything straight. He took it the wrong way. He thought that I was asking, seeing if he was straight, if he was. And it was just
Right.
kind of funny because I'm trying because he kept on asking, he said, what do you mean? I said, you got everything straight. And so he was acting a little funny, and all my wife would tell you. So a couple days later, I went in and the manager called me from the store, called me, hey man, you offended one of our workers. And I'm trying to figure out offend. And then we sitting there talking. Then I realized, okay, because I said straight. And so, and this is going back 10, 12 years ago. And so the thing is, I want to, I explained to the man, I say, that's not what I'm not saying. When we from the East Coast, we always ask, you got everything straight. And it was just, but
I
people
mean,
take
in line, you
time.
got everything
Yeah, I got everything
going
straight.
forward.
Yeah, not what your gender or anything like that is. And so I catch myself and stuff. It's almost like sometimes you gotta watch what you say because people, they can tend to. But we live in a world, man. Nowadays, you almost gotta, man, you almost gotta be real ginger with your words and make sure you. And that takes all the fun out of living. If you living in that type of box where, okay, my mom, okay, how should I say this? Now, sometimes we should, regroup, how we say, but just joking around, just having a good time, not offending anybody, but it's according who you're dealing with and who you're around too.
Hmm. And like you said, we're not offending. We're just
No,
funning, being fun. We're
not just,
just trying to be fun with life.
I want to,
Cause
yeah, hey,
go ahead.
Mark, I don't call it, you know, yeah, it's calling having fun, but I'm always looking. My wife would tell you the same thing. If we go places, no matter any store, any place we go, I tell Liz, I'm trying to get at least 3 friends that day. So my goal is to make friends and joking around a lot of time because people are so serious about things. Not offending people, but just joking around,
Mhm.
just messing with people. People and it's a shame because back in the day when we was growing up, hey, people used to be able to talk on the streets, hang out, and joke and laugh. You don't see that too much nowadays, because people are
That's
so
right.
serious. People into the politics and all that, and everybody, if you don't believe, you can't, no, you stay over here, you stay over there. And that's when you was talking about prejudice. That's the big prejudice, man, with the politics going on. I mean, back in the day, even though you may have had different beliefs politically, people got along. I mean, but
Mhm.
times you live in
Well,
now,
I was on a conference call this morning and I saw a name, and the name to me was a feminine name. And so the second time when I used the name the first time, and
yeah,
the second time I said she. And then I thought, I have never heard the person talk. I've never seen the person.
well, that's a shame.
They're virtual assistant for me, but it's all been virtual.
Yeah, yeah.
And I don't know that I hope I didn't offend it, but I said something right away and I changed it because I didn't know gender, just use the name
Yeah.
every time.
Yeah, yeah. I laugh about that because you can't laugh about those things nowadays. So I like to put a disclaimer on this. But it reminds me of that stick and show. They still got the old ones now, but like on Saturday Night Live, Pat,
Yes,
man, I laugh at that because I
I
mean,
know.
but it's a shame we can't laugh at things, man. I mean, it's
I
it's
know.
just it's
It
almost like if
is.
you laugh, it's like making fun of people. So I mean,
And we're not meaning to. We're just trying to have fun with the way life is, and life goes on. And I tell
yeah,
people, it's life, Life. Live it fully every day.
yeah,
We're all gonna only gonna be here for so long, and
yeah.
we
And
don't know if we'll be here tomorrow.
I'm too legit to quit. No, I'm just joking. That's MC
Too
Hammer.
legit to quit. I'm gonna start calling you up more often. You give me a lot of good humor. Okay, all right,
Well,
let's
hey,
get
that's
into
it.
something. Go ahead.
No, no, go ahead. No, no, you better go and get into your program, man.
Okay, yeah, we only have about 11 minutes left. These go so fast. I just enjoy it. But you have a still for life. Last name still, but you have it for life. What are you doing? How's that going?
Well, we started that, and again, we regrouping right now and all. And I think I talked to you about situation,
You did.
things we don't have control over and all. And still for life, we started that off, more so about and our catch. And again, I didn't come up with this and all too. Um, extending your
Well,
shelf
take
life.
credit until I find out otherwise.
Yeah, okay. Well, she's, what happened was a good friend. Now it's been a long time ago. He's no longer around. His wife now. I mean, one time, Mr. Merle, I went to visit him. He lives in Hope, Missouri, in the backwoods. So it just so happened Mr. Hope wasn't in there. Mr. Hope was about, no, not Mr. Hope, Mr. Merle, his name is. But the thing is, his wife was there that day, and then we were sitting there talking just for a second, and I was asking some things, and she used this term, I'm extending my shelf life. And so that stayed in my mind. And so that's where, Still for Life, extending your shelf life. So that's where we came up with Still for Life. And we were rooting the website right now, but it was all about health, exercise, things that, managing stress, things that can help you extend your shelf life. So instead of making it 80 years old, you might be able to make it a 90, 100,
Yes.
something like that. But it was just more so on doing things, positive things within our community and all too. And then we also had a thing where we worked along with like foundations and charity groups and all too, doing some things, trying to promote, raise money and all at the same time. So,
That is excellent. And that whole the process and what I'm hearing there, Art, is where I think all of us struggle a lot of times because going back even to that word of straight, we all
yeah.
have definitions of what we hear. And you mentioned some things earlier about people with a certain weight and things like that, that we look at them differently. And that understanding sometimes, or that definition of something as simple as eating right and exercise and our understanding, our definition of that, I think is different for everyone on this call. I
Yeah.
have,
Well,
go ahead.
I was gonna say, even now, and I kind of regroup, somewhat because we was talking about words. If you put some words together, people can take it a couple ways. And then, and we said on the political side, and then even with that, still for life, people might take that in a political sense, but the sense that we was talking about is living a healthy lifestyle. But the for life, they got all these movements and all. And so if you put words together, people sometimes gonna have a preconceived idea. And my preconceived idea when we put still for life is our health. Some people might think it might have to do with birth or something like that. So I mean, and that it's a shame you got to clarify things, but that's why we added on to that catchphrase, extending your shelf life. So
Yeah, I like that. That gives it that positive attitude that we all need as a driver to go forward. And I look for that. Is there something positive that helps that shelf life? And again, being able to explain that to people, I think is very powerful.
well,
And
hey, I was gonna say too, and that shelf life. You understand when I say shelf life? Because a lot of people trying to figure out, but it made a lot of sense because usually, you go in the store, it's got a label on the back, the shelf life, you got to sell it by this time.
yeah,
So, and that's just like our health, man, sitting on the shelf. So, how can we get some more time on the shelf life? And so, that's, coming up, our shelf life is instead of expiring, December 25th, 24, we can get some extension on that, maybe December 25th, 26 or something like that. So, how we
mhm.
take care of ourselves, how we deal with issues, and how we look at others and all. So,
I'm so with you on that because there's so much that we can do. And I know I want to exercise more. My best female friend, my BFF, the love of my life, she does a lot of work. She works out several days a week. She looks great. I'm almost jealous of her and what she does. I wish
well, you
more of
should be
us could
jealous of
take,
her, man.
she's,
Yeah.
of course, she's beautiful and she likes me, so she's pretty special. But that
Well,
ability to
she
get
she
out
probably
and
wear
do
glasses.
things. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I said she probably wear glasses, huh? Probably didn't have her glasses on that day, huh?
The day she met me, I think you're right. That's probably
Hey,
true.
got him. Yeah,
Yeah, you do. You
yeah,
got me often. But yeah,
yeah.
that's something that
I was going.
sorry.
No, no, I was going to say got him. But I was going to use that term.
Oh,
Got him with these nuts. No.
but that's what
Yeah.
we need to do. And we talk about definition. What is shelf life and what is exercise and what is eating right? Because that's different to so many people. And then something else that I talk about is extremes. Because we talk about that Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule, where 20% of the people theoretically own 80% of the world. We also have
Yeah.
20% of the world that's going to be extreme either way. We think about exercise and eating right, and there's that theoretical 20%. Sometimes it's 3%, and sometimes it's 45%. But they
Yeah,
don't know what eating right is. And eating right to them is, again, like we talked about earlier, what they learned when they were young.
yeah.
That's their culture. That's their
Well,
learning.
well, and then
And
yeah, I was gonna say,
go ahead.
hey, you think about it, Mark. It's a lot of it's, we grew up, the food that we had, my parents, at least my mother and all, we was on welfare and all too, but at least you used to have make sure you have a starch, a protein, a vegetable, and all that kind of stuff. So we did have that. And a lot of stuff is taught in the home, but kids now, I mean nowadays, with all these shortcuts of making food, ultra processed food. And then the
Coming out of
commercials,
packages.
you yeah. And so, even with the commercials we have now, and you can get as big as you want, man. Just take some pharmaceutical drugs, and that'll help you get your weight down instead of, man. That's where you learn discipline, is when you learn how to control your body, what you eat and all. You know,
Mhm.
it's much different than, relying on, hey, I'm gonna take this pill over here and I can, because you hear people too, man, got maybe diabetes and eating all kinds of, but then they take their medicine to compensate. And I'm like, boy, that doesn't make any sense at all. Just common sense to tell you, you know, if it's not good for you, why are you eating it? You can get rid of the
Well,
pills and eat the right whole foods and all.
and you said a lot right there, because of that common sense, and how common is that sense anymore? We've got so
Yeah.
much information coming across at us, a lot of it negative. What can we believe? What can we not believe? We've only got a couple of minutes left here, Art. Thank you so much for being here. What can we, the audience, what can I do? What can we do to help Still for Life? How can we work together?
Oh, well, the thing is, I would say, uh, and I live by this model too. I've seen it before. Um, it's a website, Random Acts of Kindness or something like that. But I've seen, I
Okay.
forgot what they call them. But the thing is, it was this thing that said, it was a quote: "When you help others, they say you help others," but I use in the term, when you help others, you heal yourself. And
Yep.
so, to me, man, just being kind, and then, like I said before, everybody we meet each day is facing issues we don't know anything about. Be kind. I mean, real simple. Be patient and kind. And sometimes people can react the way, and I think it's how we respond that can either, you know, take that relationship to another level, and people might regroup on themselves. And sometimes things happen. You just gotta know how to just, hey, maybe people are having problems, just move on. Just like, even with driving, traffic and all that kind of stuff. Man, rage, road rage and all that stuff. Everybody's got to be at a place a certain time. So just be a little bit more patient about things, and that's something that we're gonna be working on until we reach perfection where we are doing the right thing.
Exactly. And that's what we've got to do. And that's why I want to continue working with you, Art, and hope the
Yeah.
audience does as well, to reach out and think about how well we can work with each other. And if you don't mind repeating, let me just touch back on something you said earlier again, because it meant a lot to me. Again, when they ask for race, it's other, it's human, because we're all part of that human race. And if we can all work toward that, let's eliminate those issues with someone's skin who's darker or lighter. But let's start working together to realize that we are all one. And that if we can do what you're doing with your Still for Life, with that improving our shelf life, that we can all help build a better life, and do it by achieving unity and working together, right?
Oh yeah, hey, that's the only way to go, man. I mean, if um, you want to make a difference, man, you guys, just I always think about Michael Jackson. Remember that song he had? You know,
Which one?
you got to start with the man in the mirror. So
Yep,
you look,
the
the
man
only
in the mirror.
person you can make a change is yourself. You can't, you might be able to force somebody to be a certain way, but you making them change because you're forced. The only person you can change is yourself personally, though. So
That's right. That's where you start is in that mirror. So true. Art, thank you again. It's been a pleasure talking with you. Thank you for being on the show. Let's stay in touch. Hope to work with you. And anyone in the audience wants to get in touch with you, let's make it better for all of our lives. Still for life. Art, thank you again. It's been an awesome pleasure. We'll talk again soon.
Hey, I'm too legit to quit. No, I'm just
Too
no,
legit
no,
to
no,
quit.
no.
I'm gonna remember that.
I enjoy.
All
Hey,
right.
anything I can do, anything I can do for you and the audience and all, man. Please feel free to reach out and all too.
Sounds great, Art. Again, thank you much. Enjoy your day.
Thank you.
Happy holidays.
Okay,
Bye bye.
okay. Talk to you later. Okay, fine.
Talk to you later.